when you're a kid, you start to just feel like, should I be embarrassed by my culture? Should I be embarrassed by my background and all these things? And so it's very hard. But as you grow older, you're just gonna be like, I do not care. Like, I don't care at all what you think.
I'm Laura Quiñones, and you're listening to Amplify Her, a new podcast from the United Nations with support from SoundCloud. We met some extraordinary women artists in the first 4 episodes, and this episode is no different. Faouzia, a young singer with a huge voice, was born in Morocco and raised in Canada. She started making a name for herself when she was just 15. While she was still in high school, influential EDM producer David Guetta invited her to feature on his song Battle. Fluent in Arabic, French, and English, Faouzia is proud of her roots and has begun to incorporate Middle Eastern influences into her pop anthems. She told us about the bullying she had to overcome as a child from Arab heritage in her small town school, the family love and support that sustains her, and her love for Moroccan music and culture.
When I was very, very young, like literally 5, 6, 7, I wish that I was different. Like I would be like, I wish I had blonde hair and I wish I had blue eyes and I wish that I could be like all the other girls. And then something clicked in me when I was still very young and I was like, even though I don't look like that or I don't do those things, like I'm still really great the way that I am.
Goodbye to the one that I once knew. I could never change just to love you.
When people try to act like other people, you can sense that it's not authentic. When people are truly being real, you feel it and people gravitate towards that. And so I learned to accept myself and be myself at a very young age.
Look me in my face, said I was insane, playing all your little games.
I realized that it's an advantage to be unique in yourself. Then you can just like create your own world and do you.
Said I was too much, you're just not enough.
I'm in my studio, and what's really funny is that I'm basically in an unfinished basement. One day I just came home and my dad and my younger sister, they were like installing these soundproof blankets and like setting up the studio kind of as a surprise for me. And it's just like so cozy. It kind of looks scary. Whenever I do live Instagram lives down here, everyone's like, "Are you okay? Is anyone holding you hostage?" And, but yeah, I love the vibe. It's very dark. I love being in dark places when I'm making music. And I just love the feeling of solitude, like nobody's listening, there's no judgment, nobody's upstairs hearing what I'm doing, nothing. Like it's just me and my thoughts. And that's why I feel like I create the best, but only when I'm alone. Whenever I'm with other people, I like sunshine.
I'd rip your heart right out of your chest.
I love writing emotional music, and so it's a big part of me. Like I love sad stories, I love sad poetry. I gravitate towards writing that a lot. When I first started writing, I liked to be inspired by others and what other people had told me and their stories, but I feel like recently I've been writing a lot more from personal experience. I internalize stories, and whether I like it or not, somebody can even just be talking to me and then they'll be like, am I supposed to pretend that I love them? And then I'll be like, oh, pretend that I love them. Like, that's such a good concept. Like, and then I'll just like bank it. And it's literally just like a constant thing. It's like whether it's me, whether it's them, whether it's just a word, I'm just like storing it. Like, it's just like my brain is just always on that mode.
Man down, no another one down for me. Said you died for love, but I never loved you. Sorry, so long you're gone, it hurts to see.
My parents are both from Morocco. My dad is from Casablanca and my mom is from Fez. They told me this story that it just dawned on both of them. They were like, we need to go to Canada. And then they were immediately on board. And it was just when I was born. My older sister was like 3, 4 years old. So we were very young, and they just wanted more opportunities for us, education wise, creativity wise, everything. And so they decided to go to Canada, and it was just like a last minute decision, and they were on a plane and they were gone. And they had to start from scratch. They had to start from zero. Like they had to restart their education, everything. It's just so inspiring to think that two individuals moved from Morocco to Winnipeg, which is completely, it's like literally the polar opposite. And they pushed through and they started over and they became teachers. Like everything was just for the love of their kids and for us, which is priceless. And so now I'm like, I can't give up. I can do this, all these things because I saw my parents do it and they told me that I could do it.
I was born to dance, dance, can never touch strings to my hands.
I actually grew up in a small town called Carmen, and it's like literally 3,000 people. And then I went to school for the majority of my life in a French town, 30 minutes outside of the small English town. So lots of moving around. But I feel like I got to experience the Canadian culture in school. And I feel very blessed that I was able to experience both cultures. But it could feel a little isolating at times, especially when you're like in the middle of nowhere in the prairies. But that also had like a big hand in me being who I am in music because I spent so much time playing music because I had nothing else to do.
You could only love a puppy. I can never be a puppy. I was born to dance, dance, can never.
My family and I would go on camping trips and we would play Arabic music all the time, just like Egyptian music, Moroccan music, everything. And now, whenever I hear those songs, I'm like, turn it up. As I grew older, I just learned to appreciate it a lot more and I want to incorporate it in my music a lot more. Those memories are so dear to me. I feel like slowly I'm starting to be in more rooms with more women, especially young women. Like for the first time in these 3.5, 4 years that I've been doing sessions with a bunch of writers, I worked with a 20-year-old girl. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is the first time that I've worked with a girl my age as a writer. And especially with producers, I've worked with so few women producers. I'm like waiting for the day where there's like a really big female producer that breaks through as that like legendary producer. I'm waiting for it. I'm excited for it.
When I lay in my bed at night, I remember the way that you cried, but
I think that like these male producers that are so amazing have been at it for like 20 plus years, and female producers that are just starting out have been doing it for 2 to 3 years. And so give it like another 10 to 15 years and I think that these women will have caught up or exceeded these like standards that you have to be an amazing producer. And so I think with time, now that women are just diving into it a little more, we're going to see more women producers in rooms. I just think that it's just the beginning of it.
hello to the one that I am now. Guess it didn't go how you planned out. Little did you know I'm my own Geppetto, and now you get to watch me go, go, go.
Comparing the biggest female artists in the world and the biggest male artists in the world, the female artists, it's almost ridiculous how scrutinized they are in the way that they go to the grocery store and their hair is like slightly out of place. It's like, look at her, like she's going downhill, like all of these things. It's like she probably just woke up from a nap. Like it's not that deep. I think that it's like so extreme, the amount of pressure that is put on women to be perfect. It's not enough that they're perfect on stage and they're perfect in their interviews and all these things. They have to be perfect at all times. And it's just not possible. Like it's a human being, like they're a human being and it's not right.
Tried to dim my flame, I shine brighter than you tried to dull my blade. We'll keep trying and you tried to pull me under. Said I was too much, you're just not enough.
I think that I'm growing into my Moroccan side more and more as I grow older, and I'm appreciating it more just because when you're younger, like kids don't really know what they're talking about when they're being like rude and like all these things. And so I don't blame super young kids that were making me feel bad for who I was because I'm like, they're just trying to figure themselves out too. They're like 9. But you know, that sticks with you when you're a kid and you hear these things and it's like, why do you talk like that? Why do you look like that? Why do you listen to that music? And when you hear people laughing at you and laughing at the food that you eat, all these things saying it's gross. When you're a kid, you start to just feel like, should I be embarrassed by my culture? Should I be embarrassed by my background and all these things? And so it's very hard. But as you grow older, you're just gonna be like, I do not care. Like, I don't care at all what you think. Not having that representation, you don't have that like confirmation that it's okay. Because like I didn't have anybody to look up to in the Western world singing pop music. And so I just want little kids to be like, I'm good the way that I am, even if they're not Moroccan, just like having somebody from a different ethnic background. I remember reading comments like at the very, very beginning of my career, and they're like, is she Middle Eastern? Like, I hear it in the way that she sings, even. And I'm singing pop music, just like fully English, fully pop, not singing any Arabic words, nothing like that. But people could sense it, even in the way that I sung. And I'm just like, this is who I am. And even if I wanted to hide it, I couldn't, but I don't want to hide it. I'm very excited for my next single. It's called R.I.P. Love. It's very much me. It's like Western Arab music. I wrote a song called Puppet. I was just very tired of not only with myself, but seeing other women across the world, especially Middle Eastern women in some dark times, be silenced and be told to not act a certain way, speak a certain way, do this, do that. And so I wrote the song Puppet saying, I will not be your puppet. And I was born to dance, which means I was born to be myself and I was born to be the best version of myself. Morocco, women are just like the coolest. I've seen so many amazing Moroccan women as teachers, doctors, artists, and everything in between. I think that in Morocco, you can do so much as a woman. I obviously think that there's not just in Morocco, but all across the world, there's still a lot more that we can do to support women and make sure that they're not discriminated against and all these things. But you can only go one day at a time. But I think Morocco has a lot of great opportunities for women.
You could only love a puppet. I could never be a puppet.
That was Faouzia, the Canadian Moroccan singer whose pop sound is embracing Moroccan and Arabic sounds. You can find much of her music on her SoundCloud. We move from Canada to Jamaica on our next episode. Sarah Couch's sensual vocals blend perfectly with the beats and production of Brooklyn-based David Marston. The duo have been working together as Deja Villa since 2017. We spoke to her at her home studio and found out about her love for music, cooking, and country life. amplifyHER is dedicated to women and girls everywhere, particularly to those whose dreams and aspirations are unfulfilled due to discrimination and oppression. The empowerment of women and girls is an essential part of the UN's mission. You can find out how the UN is fighting for gender equality worldwide on our website news.un.org. Amplify Her is hosted by me, Laura Quiñones, and produced by Connor Lennon. Sound design is by Garrett Crow. This episode was made possible by Samia Wia, Thomas Zambro at WMG, Douglas Cosgrave at Atlantic Records, Tim Jones at Pipe at Hat, and Faouzia. Thanks to Mita Hosali, Victor Evans Harvey, Matthew Wells, Mark Petimesas, Fang Cheng, Gretchen Corcuera, Takako Nagumo, and Erica Mendez from UN News. And thanks to Sean Alexander, Emma Lentz, Lauren Holden, and Heather Mundinger from SoundCloud. Amplify Her is a UN News production with support from SoundCloud.